Welcome to the IslandStats.com football show, your weekly dose of all the action from Bermuda's top football leagues. We bring you in-depth coverage of the Premier and First Divisions, results, highlights, analysis, and exclusive interviews. We also keep you up to date with the latest news and developments from the Bermuda Football Association. Stay tuned for the IslandStats.com football show, your one-stop shop for everything you need to know about the beautiful game in Bermuda. Now let's join the IslandStats.com football show team. Well, good evening and welcome to this edition of the IslandStats.com football show. I'm your host, Darrell Basin. Joining me is co-host Garrett Punchy Dill, as well as Andrew Griffith. And we are joined by the president of the Southampton Rangers Sports Club, Mr. Darren Butch Burchell. As everyone would know, there was an incident that took place prior to the start of the Paget Devonshire Colts match at Southampton Oval earlier this afternoon that resulted in the match being abandoned, not being played at all. Butch, I wanted to talk with you because, again, the name the name Southampton Rangers appears in something that you were hosting, and altercations break out, and again, people point the finger and say, "Well, it's Rangers again." So let me first ask you. I know because obviously there's so many things going on. Give us a sense of what you're going through right now as club president of Southampton Rangers.
I don't know if you want to talk about right now or in general. In general, what we are really attempting to do is to bring the club back to the community and get as much positive community involvement as we can, and have as many positive functions and as creating so many positive relationships in and around the community. And when something like today happens, just seems like reminds me of an old reggae song: one step forward and two step backward. And we I keep saying, I spoke to my executives earlier during the incident actually, and they said we got to just stay positive. We got to keep doing what we got planned. We can't tolerate this type of behavior, and we're gonna have to identify who these young men are and just ban them from coming around our club. We can't have that. And people keep saying it's Rangers, but one of the issues is that our society has some deep-rooted issues, and they keep raising their ugly heads. And unfortunately, it's being raised at our sporting grounds and in this case at a football game at our club. And I'm quite disappointed. I'm more than hurt, to be honest.
They spent a week doing these town hall meetings about antisocial behavior, and then we see it immediately after this. It's almost like they tried to put out a fire, but they actually engulfed a fire. It would appear, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. These town hall meetings are singing to the choir, because those who need to hear what's going on at these meetings don't come. Mm-hmm. It's got to be something else. I mean, it's a positive thing. You got to be doing something. You got to be, I guess, ticking boxes. You got to be seen to be trying to do something. The authorities who are putting these on, and I get that, and having the opportunity to speak with the leaders of our community security at these town hall meetings is a positive. But those who need to hear this stuff is not hearing it. And then there's some of the things we try to do at our club. We took 5 or 6 guys who were shot at an incident and put them through some training with Curb, and they got certified, and things like that. We just have to keep doing it. The town hall meetings, if they're not reaching people, we just have to keep reaching. We just have to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it till you're blue in the face, and that's no pun intended, because it's Rangers talking about blue. But we just have to keep doing this. We have some very hurt young men in our society. We have some fatherless sons that have grown up that didn't have maybe some of the boundaries that they need. Some of these young men, they have no regard for life and for living. Prison means nothing to them, and dying means nothing to them. They see each other getting shot and stabbed and killed. It means nothing to them. So the incident that happened today was unfortunate, but it happened on the back heel of an incident that had happened on. I've done some research now, spoke to several people, and I can report that there was an incident at PAC after the Rangers match where two Rangers members, one was a player and one was actually a member of management. One of them had an issue with their bike at one start, and a Paget player accosted them guys and attacked them, and they called for their friends, come help us, and the friends came, and the same Paget player spit in one of them's face after punching and attacking one of the players or whatnot. So he shows up at Rangers today to play football. I know prior to the match, our sports chairman has spoken to someone from Paget to try to get a message down the line because he's been trying to defuse the situation. He was actually involved in the incident at PAC, and he's actually trying to defuse the situation by asking that this young man, this player for Paget, don't be a part of the program. And when he showed up, and apparently he was taunting some of these guys who were in and around the club, and they decided to go down onto the field. But prior to getting onto the field, I was out front at the gate, and we had about 4 of our executives. And it wasn't our game today; it was Patrick's game. It was their security, and I say that not to pass the buck. We made sure we have 4 members of our executive and management team on the premises just to support Patrick, and in case anything had happened, be available. And it happened. So I had pulled one of the young men aside. They were on the steps going down to the field, the playing field. I pulled them aside, took them inside, had a word with him, and said, "Look, man, please don't do this, man. You can spoil this for everybody. There's a match here. It's going to be in the public. The club is going to look bad again. And please, try to solve this a different way." And they were already aggrieved of when I got there. They had been aggrieved already, and they decided that he was gonna no, President, this ain't happening. He can't. All he has to do is leave the field and don't be a part of it. I don't know who they think they are that they're calling shots that what's going to happen and who could play. And I get it. I kind of like one side of me get it. This guy attacked one of his mates, one of the members of our executive, and spit in one of the guys' faces. I get that, but like I said to him, please do this a different way. Don't do it here. But I guess they were too aggrieved. Then they overcame the security, and was a security guard at the bottom of the step, pushed him aside and entered the field, and there it was. They went after this young man. Fortunately, he wasn't hurt. And I didn't exactly witness everything that happened. I just saw bright Paget colors, all because Paget had these bright yellow jerseys, and I tried to identify what was happening. I was on the phone calling the police right away, and so that was what I was dealing with. Fortunately, the police came right away, but by the time the police came, I guess these youngsters heard the police and they took off. Paget decided that they weren't going to play.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to let bring in Punchy. Punchy, you've heard the president from Southampton Rangers. Obviously, some disturbing news. Give us your thoughts on what you've heard from the president regarding today's incident.
Well, first of all, hey, Butch, it's good to have you on the show. Yeah, great. Butch, I admire your courage for taking that position up there at Rangers. And I think you've done it well. First of all, I applaud you for what the cricket team done. What has achieved. You hired Herbie and your achievements.
Yes.
Rangers, I'm just going to say, Rangers, one time the Rayner brothers were my great club for cricket, of course. Not for football, but cricket. Yes. But I applaud you for what's happening in our country. The other thing, you travel quite a bit, extensively. And I even taking that position, what you have. And again, hats off to you for trying to rebuild that community and what has happened up there. But it's happening all through the country, of course. Well, but I just say that hats off to you. And so, what will be next for you now that this has happened? Because I always say that
Identify.
you're the president. You took on the presidency, right?
Yeah.
Now you did really go to the cricket program. Um, with Herbie there. So, are you also thinking about your football program?
Of course we are.
That how it can get better. And
Yeah.
then the other thing I want to ask you also about when you have because Paget now is that's a home field. You have having Paget there as So what would that mean for you in terms of would you allow Paget? Is that a problem there for you all?
No, Patrick are welcome. Any club that wants to use our field and our facility are welcome. Patrick are good tenants. They show up. They take responsibility for what needs to be taken responsibility for. We have a good relationship with Mr. Butterfield, who is the secretary or the vice president, and we have some relationships with their president. But we talk quite often with Butterfield, who is also a member of our Warwick's executive team. So when it comes to cricket, they are there. You asked first of all the football cricket program. We brought on board one of who we think is one of the top coaches in football on the island, one of the successful coaches, Quincy Hunt. I'm quite impressed with how he has got our young man training. They're training 3 times a week, and they're doing well. We're getting some success. I spoke to Quincy a couple of weeks ago. I said, "Don't break your neck trying to get permitted this year. Get your philosophy in, get your pedagogy in, get your curriculum in." And let's start spreading it into other parts of the football program here in the youth, and and let's go forward. Let's try to get promoted in a year or two. Don't try to race this. So I'm happy, and like I said, Paget are there. They are good tenants. They show up. They take responsibility. They're responsible for the security today because it was their game. They take the gate. They pay their bills. With the gates, they pay the security, and unfortunately, these guys slipped through and were able to do an unjust thing to our community, and we can't accept that. We need to. I spoke to the executive committee. I've spoken to 1 or 2 people who are outside the club who have asked to come on board and take care of any disciplinary issues we have, and I've started to contact them. I've had 2 of them on the phone this afternoon. I'm just contacting 1 more. We'll have a disciplinary hearing this week. And I've heard from the police that they have been able to identify the perpetrators because there was a video playing there and they have a copy of the video. And we're going to get that video to the disciplinary board and the committee that's going to sit. And I'm going to ask if they just ban these young men from our premises. We just can't do this. We can't have a group of people working hard, making steps forward and trying to develop our community just to let some ignorance and some young men who have no respect and no dignity in human nature to take things into their own hands and spoil what we're doing. So my recommendation would be that they be suspended. I'm going to meet with the executive, the management committee, and the directors on Tuesday. I've asked for an emergency meeting, and that's what's going to happen.
Okay. I do want to bring our other co-host in, Andrew Griffith. Griff, you've listened to quite a bit in this first 14 minutes of the show. Give us a sense of anything you want to ask the president of Southampton Rangers or what you've heard.
Yeah, I've heard some stories of it from people that were at the game. Apparently it was shaping up to be a good day. The sun was out. I know a lot of parents and grandparents that were at the game to see their sons and grandsons play. So they were quite disturbed and everything happened. But my question is, we had Mark Wade on before, and when I was involved with the BFA executive some time ago, there was the BASBAC program that had the red, yellow, and green signals as each player was vetted and whether they, because it's a privilege to play football, and whether they deserve to play. And once you hit the red, you could not play football. You could not be registered as a player. And I believe, from what Mark Wade said, that program has been sidelined because of the new privacy laws. So I'm wondering, is that something that you, as a club president, would favor bringing back? Because it seems like we have people in football that should not be in football.
Yeah, this came up in a discussion I had this afternoon. I had more discussions this afternoon with so many different people. I'm still trying to get my head around some of it. And my thing is, I don't like taking food off anybody's table. Some of these young men, sports is the only thing they have got, and if we take that from them, they have even less. But some of them don't deserve to be out there being role models. Some of them just don't deserve it. And if we identify that there are these young men in our society, then I think they should be either suspended or they should have to prove themselves. They should have to go through some type of program or whatnot. Carve have a few restorative justice programs and whatnot, restorative practice programs. They should have to do something to prove that they're worthy if they are an issue, in the sporting realm.
Yeah. So what obviously you have this emergency meeting on Tuesday with your executive and those folks that you identified as people that would sit on your disciplinary committee and so forth. I guess the one question would be, are you identifying the Rangers people, that the perpetrators, or are you identifying the Paget player? Because how are you dealing with that issue? Because it's a twofold.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, right? I'm going to be absolutely from where I stand, and this is not a Rangers thing. This is a Darren Bush Butcher thing. Mm-hmm. The Paget player that showed up to play football today did nothing wrong. However, if I was that player, knowing what perpetrated on Wednesday and what he did to Rangers footballers, and knowing, a Rangers executive member, what he was involved with, I, in my thinking, would not have showed up to play up here today. You know what I mean? So, but I can't think for a grown man and tell him what to do. You understand? So, I can't blame him for what happened today. Do I blame him for what he did Friday night? And I would not have shown up today if I was him, knowing what happened. So that was kind of like rubbing salt in the wound.
Yeah. But I guess everybody's eyes will be on what comes out of your meeting on Tuesday night. Obviously, you have to have a hearing. The people that were involved that you have identified will obviously have to have a day in quote unquote court for you. Yeah. And then obviously it's then dealt with. So from a Ranger standpoint, obviously, like we've all indicated, you guys have been doing a lot of work to kind of bring that community back to the club per se. Yes. So I would ask you your message to the community of Southampton about Southampton Rangers right now, because they're going to wake up tomorrow morning with all this stuff, if they're not already inundated with it now. But your message here and now to your Southampton community with regards to Southampton Rangers.
Yeah, this message is not just for my community. We love our community, and the community is involved. So like I said, as I was sitting outside on the porch of a neighbor, it was about 15 of us sitting there talking about it. And that we're happy with what the community is doing. The community is happy, but I just want to assure people that we're doing everything we can to make Rangers a safe place, a place where people will want to come, no matter what age you are. We've had several events at the club recently. Several people have even come and had their wakes after funerals here to grieve and to, bringing families together to talk. We have a plan, we're not just doing this. I've got a plan, a 3-year plan we have that we tick off every meeting we have. We're looking at, we're not ticking, we're moving, and we're actioning things. So I just want the wider community to know that, this is not just a Rangers thing. Rangers are doing what we can. We are brave enough to take on these youngsters, to take on these men, and to try to help them. Whereas where other areas in the society just tell them, they can't come or don't come here or you're not allowed here. So, but we have to take a stance. And, the action we're going to take is going to be fast, it's going to be firm, and it's going to be fair. And it's going to send a message that we're never going to tolerate what happened today.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question because I think it's vital that we understand. First game of the season, we had an altercation at Bernard Park. Everybody saw what happened. Nobody knows the results of what happened, though. Is this something that manifests over and over and over because we choose not to let people know what the results are to kind of curb other incidents?
I think so. And I think, both the clubs came forward real quick with statements in the press denouncing what happened. But we haven't heard, who's been suspended or if these guys are still or the perpetrators of this are still able to enter that realm of football. I mean, if you disrespect a club in the affiliates in the BFA, you should be suspended, and you've disrespected all of the clubs. So what happened at Rangers today disrespected Somerset Cricket Club, it disrespected St. George's Cricket Club, it disrespected St. Davis, it disrespected PHC. Every football affiliate should be upset with what happened today. We can't accept that. We can't, and we these, we spoke about town hall meetings and et cetera, et cetera. We just have to keep beating the drum. You know what I mean? We have to take steps that try to change the behaviors of those who are coming, because we can't change the behavior. I try to talk these brothers down today, and I thought I had these brothers, and a couple of them looked like they were going to retreat. You know what I mean? But they were staunch in their way, and the ringleader decided charge. So the whole footballing community was disrespected today, and I am going to have word with the executive. I mean, I'm just one person in the group, that these brothers be suspended from our club for as long as possible. Even the grandchildren should be suspended. That's how disappointed I am.
All right. Well, we'll let you go. I know you've had a long afternoon and probably many long days coming ahead over the next few days to sort this all out.
Yes.
What we're going to do is we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll bring you the scores, and we're going to be joined by Jensen Rogers from the Somerset Trojans. We'll be right back.
What could life be like with Drop It? It's getting home, lighting a candle, and finally having that quiet cup of tea before dinner, because your groceries already handled, delivered straight from Lindo's to your doorstep, fresh and on time. Drop It gives you back the best part of your day, a moment that's yours. Dropit.bm, your groceries delivered. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Beneath the clear blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day for over 135 years. It's been clear, it's silence, proudly Bermudian. Bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian.
You ever crack open a Coke and just... perfect.
It's that cold, classic hit that never lets you down.
Whether you're chilling with friends or just need a break, you can't go wrong with Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Nothing else compares.
Proudly distributed by Butterfield and Vallis.
And welcome back. Well, Punchy, we're joined by the Somerset Trojans head coach and Jensen Rogers. Jensen, first of all, welcome to the show. You've been in charge of the Trojans for a few years now. Obviously, the roller coaster ride had happened. You guys came down, but you're in your second year in the first division, and it looks as if things are starting to go the way you want them to go regarding the way you want to play, the results, and all of that. Over the what is it, 3 years or 4 years that you've been in charge? What has that journey been like for you? You got to unmute. You muted. Did you mute yourself? Right down the bottom. There you go. You're on.
Right.
Yeah.
Over the fourth, this is my fourth season. So over the fourth season has definitely been a season, definitely been a growth. So this year, last season when we came down and got relegated, the season before. So last season was the first season in first division, and we knew that it was going to be a tough task to come right back up. The team down there was pretty strong, but we also knew that we had to be patient in the growth. So growth of myself and growth of the players, because we're a very young group. So this season here now, again, the fruits of our labor. And so if you've seen some of the Trojans play now, this has been a journey from even when they were in Premier League and they got relegated.
Yeah.
Right now, I feel that we've grown as individuals, so now you see a more structured team.
Yeah. I want to ask you because, and I'm going to bring Punchy in a second. Obviously, you didn't lose many players when you went down, but the psychological part of football, how did that affect the players and your team last year? And because you didn't get promoted right back away.
Yeah, I mean, we had spoke to the players for many seasons. Some kept losing a whole host of players, important players at that. So we had to meet with the players and just let them know that we're not going to get any better if we keep jumping ship. And the response was that they all was willing to buckle down and get Somerset back to where it needs to be. And we explained to them that even if we don't get promoted the first attempt, this is all still a part of our growth journey. And now we are in the driver's seat right now in the first division.
Okay, I'm going to bring Punchy in now. Punchy?
Hi, good evening. Good to have you on the show, Coach. Good to have you on the show. I always talk about institutions. Some cities be an institution. I mean, it's called Silver City. What I find now is, you're taking up that position where you are, and what is it that you up and down the consistency level of that? Is it because what is happening in the West End up there with players, or is development, or what would you think is why Somerset are where they are now in terms of football? And the cricket program seems to be okay, but in terms of football, where are they now? What do you find is what's happened to Somerset Cricket Club in terms of an institutional? What the players that came out of Somerset years ago, whether it was George Brankman, Bernard Brankman, and we're going back. I know we're going to go back and say, but it's different times now. But over the years since what has really happened up there?
Well, for one, the player pool in Somerset is small. It's smaller than maybe in the city. And then there's player development. So we've developed players, but for some reason, when we get to a certain point, they leave. We have a few players that's performing well at other clubs, but they've left Somerset after being developed. We've struggled to hold on to those key players. Most of our players are going overseas to school and stuff like that, so it kind of hurts us. We've developed every year. We've developed a good group.
For some reason, your audio dropped out.
The player pool in the West End is not plentiful like it is in the city, the central part of the island.
Go ahead, Griff. Punchy, you got another question?
Yeah, I mean, and when you were saying about the player pool when I was coming along, again, I'm going back to my time. There was so many players up there, so many good young in the West End. That was it was like, whoa, when nobody's come up there, it's like, we're gonna be ready for this game. But now I see, now it's that you're up and down, and that's the question that's what I'm trying to figure out. Um, is your development, or is it the way the country's going in terms of younger players moving out of the country? Everything's changed so much. So has this hurt the West End a lot in terms of people being connected to football? And I'm seeing your younger teams, because when it used to be in Somerset where you used to have these good young players that come through the senior and then move on to the senior program. I don't see that happening no more now. And what is it? Is it because if it's happening in Somerset and it's been for a while, it's going to happen in the country. I think Norfolk is kind of I think Norfolk is on a good part of what they're trying to do. My point is that you're an institution that had all these great Clyde Bass, Randy Horty. I can go on and on. But I keep asking the question about, is it because of our countries, what's happening in the country altogether?
Yeah, I think if you look around the league, most teams will have 90% of the team is young players, or 70% of the team is young players. And a lot of times the players don't know the history of their clubs, and then a lot of times players are looking for instant success. So it's no longer I'm gonna stay at the club and I'm gonna work at the club for 5, 6 seasons. It's like, no, I want to win trophies now. So we get a lot of players jumping from team to team, and it's not. I don't think it's just a West End thing. I think it's a country, the island. It has a problem in that. The teams that usually are able to keep their players for a long period of time, like the PACs and the Benetons and stuff like that, you see the success coming, and they're usually teams that's out there fighting for trophies year in, year out, season in, season out. So, yeah. I don't think it's just a thing. I think it's a country thing.
Yeah. I'm going to bring in our other co-host, Andrew Griffith. Griff, we're here with Jensen Rogers, Somerset coach. They're top of the table in the first division. Any questions for him?
Yeah, sorry. Welcome to the show, Jensen. Sorry I missed the first part. I just got through security at the airport. So I was to piggyback on what Punchy said, because I can remember way back in the day, like, Island Rangers basically started because a lot of players felt that they sat on the bench for Somerset too long and would never make the first team. So you always had a lot of players, and the junior program produced, it was a funnel for everybody going to the first team. People were like, I can remember going to West End, and it was like, oh, it was seeing a Trojan was like a big thing, but that doesn't seem to be have the same aura now. So I wonder too about development. If a club invests 15 years or so in a young player, brings him through the ranks, and just like that, they lose that player to another team after they spent all those years. In the past, teams there was mechanisms in BFA where teams were compensated if another team took their junior players. Is that something that you think should be thought about again?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you invest the time and money with some clubs into a player, I think you should be compensated. And I mean, in Somerset, we have a lovely, productive youth program. A lot of the players now, as in the first team, have came to that youth program. A lot of them right now overseas. If you look at Jace Donovan, he came to that youth program. You know what I mean? Justin Cadet. Right now we have Macari Tur, Jair Shields. All these guys have came through some of the youth program. Jaden Rary Smith, Jalen Greaves. These are all guys who start and are leading the team right now, and they're still young players. They're in their early 20s or the teens, and they're into the first team right now. And this is all came from Somerset's youth program. Right now, I think the difference was that other teams, other clubs look better on paper than Somerset. So they were able to attract the players that wanted success instantly. But right now at Somerset, it looks attractive to the players because we're having success right now. The structures.
Yeah. You're top of the table, undefeated. You think what you've been working with over the last 4 years is now coming to bear the fruit of what you thought it would, but has it materialized in the time frame you wanted it to?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we had a issue. We had a little hiccup in our program because we had Scott Morton in at first, and he was leading the way with our program. But then obviously he took sick, and then we had to kind of pivot. And now we have Mr. Kenny Thompson as the TD. We have Denver Seymour Jr. as the assistant TD / coach / coaching manager. Myself as the coach. We have a whole host of hands-on coaches. Mark Trotstielder leading with his knowledge. So I think right now we've built a well-rounded machine, and now we're starting to see all that come to light.
Punchy often talks about the numbers of Somerset, and Griff mentioned it as well. When you had Island Rangers, you had Dockyard Falcons playing Corona League, you had Somerset Trojans, you had Somerset Eagles. You had 4 teams going strong at one point in time, and now only 2 exist. Would you say that's a product of society, of what we're going through with our young men?
Of course. Just right now, the young men are just finding other things that they're interested in, really, or other things that are catching their attention. I remember when I was young, in my early teens, football was everything. I would go football training on my birthday. Now these guys, they'd rather do something else on their birthday. Football is not the first thought. It's not the first love. It's not what I into, and it's up to us, the coaches, the clubs, and the community to get them players back out. Like at Somerset, if we know that a guy, maybe he was in our youth program and he hasn't played for a few seasons, we still invite him to train. Come train, even if you're not looking to play, just come training, and maybe you might get that love back again.
All right, well, Jensen, I want to thank you very much for joining, and good luck to Somerset for the rest of the season. Obviously, you get that opportunity to get that. You got that gap right now. Still, Robin Hood have a game in hand, but you got a little gap. So, good luck for the remainder of the season. We'll see you at the turn, and we'll get back with you and see how things are progressing. How's that?
All right, thanks.
All right. Okay, we're going to take our second commercial break, and when we come back, we'll talk the matches today, and we're going to be joined by the women's senior national coach, Nikita Robinson. We'll be right back.
The pink sands beneath the clear blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day for over 135 years. It's been clear, Lady Silence proudly Bermuda, bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Lady Silence proudly Bermudian.
You ever crack open a Coke and just perfect?
It's that cold, classic hit that never lets you down.
Whether you're chilling with friends or just need a break, you can't go wrong with Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Nothing else compares.
Proudly distributed by Butterfield and Vallis.
The holidays are busy, but shopping doesn't have to be. With Drop It, Bermuda's local grocery delivery service, you can skip the crowds and let us bring everything right to your door. Fresh ingredients, pantry staples, and holiday must-haves, all from Lindo's delivered with care. Less time in line, more time for what matters. Order now at dropit.bn. Your groceries delivered. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, let me just quickly run down the results from this past weekend. On Friday night at the PHC Stadium, it was PHC Zebras 6, Young Man Social Club 0. Then today, obviously the match between Patriot Lions and Devonshire Colts was not played. It was North Village Rams 5, Boulevard Blazers 0, St. George's Colts 2, Crossroads 2. And then in First Division on Friday night at the PHC Stadium, it was Robin Hood 2, Southampton Rangers 1. Yesterday at the Somerset Cricket Club, it was Somerset Trojans 4, St. David's 0. And then today, it was Wolves 1, Vasco 0, and Hamilton Parish failed to show for their match against Somerset Eagles. Well, gentlemen, obviously, let's jump right into the conversation of Friday night PHC, and we will be joined. Just to let you know, we will be joined by the women's national coach Nikita Robinson towards the end of the show to just get an update on the team's preparations as they head to Cayman Islands. But yeah, Friday night. Punchy, were you surprised by the result of 6-0?
No. I was with PHC, first of all, with PHC and with the mountain young players they got, and I just thought that Social Club are going to be hard playing. They're going to be hard to beat at home at Police Field, but there's a lot, and I keep saying this about certain clubs like Social Club and Zico.
You muted yourself, Punchy. You muted yourself. You got to unmute. No, it's still muted. There you go. Still, because you can't. Can you hear me, Punchy? Okay. It's back. Okay, Punchy.
Yeah, I just thought, I mean, if you look at predictions, we always thought that, of course, PHC will win the game. But the thing about it is, Social Club, again, I don't know how they set the team up. And I always knew that was going to be a difficult game against PHC.
Yeah.
But then a goalkeeper got injured, and I always know they have a problem in the goalkeeping department at Social Club. So, are we talking about relegation again for Social Club? Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are discussing. Yes, we are talking about that. And Zico loses, not going to keep playing. With him not playing, I don't think if he would have made a difference on Friday night, I don't think he would have even made a difference. It's just that, there's certain teams that I found, like Social Club, they were last year, they hung on, but I think this year is going to be a real test for them in terms of will they go down? I think they are very possible candidates for being demoted. Yes, they are. Especially with that type of mauling that they got. So about Social Club, direction they're going, they need more players, development, what we're talking about, and teams like that, clubs like that, will only come up and down. And they may survive for 1 year, but the next year is what's next for them. What kind of players they got? Who's going to Social Club to help them? And they need better players, definitely.
Yeah. So, am I hearing it correctly? Zico didn't play?
No, he
didn't play. No, he didn't.
So, that Punchy getting muted, I think that was a sign. Everything he said after he wasn't surprised should have been muted, because that is a surprising score. Punch is changing his mind now. When I first heard it, and we all should have been shocked. But that said, Zico not playing, okay, that makes sense, because they're one Zico away from automatic relegation. I think he's a difference maker to help keep him up. And that's an example of if he doesn't play, what it would look like. I say the same thing for Robin Hood with Kishan. His out is a difference maker. That's a completely different team. So yeah, if he doesn't play or if he gets injured, and else, yeah, I think social clubs were a front runner to get relegated.
Yeah. Well, let's quickly switch our attention to today because North Village defeated Boulevard uh, 5-0. We all talked about Boulevard and you know what they were able to do against Paget the other day, but here it turns around that you know North Village put 5 in them, Punchy.
I saw the whole game, and I said to the coach of Mr. Smith, the coach of Boulevard, I said he's got, you know, you're doing a lot of young players in the deep end, but they look they were poor today. Boulevard were very poor today, very poor. And that's going to be because they have so many young players. Got 5 or 6 young players coming and playing, and then the substitutes still young players. But their problem is that I knew they're gonna be exposed, and they were definitely exposed today. North Village were a lot better. They, you know, consistency is what I seen with North Village, but Boulevard are going to be in trouble. And I saw Coach Smith. I said, listen, your strategy in terms of you have young players, but they look like they don't come from academies. They ain't been through an institution. And he was explaining to me some of them came from BAA and the Bascom Academy, but they just look so out of place. And that was a very easy game for North Village. Of course, they missed a penalty, right? But I just feel that even if they would have scored the penalty, because they got the penalty first,
yes,
they would still lost that game.
Bref,
Saved.
What's that?
Was the penalty missed or saved?
It was saved.
Okay. So Michael, so if Punchy would have come out and said this one wasn't a surprise, then I think we should have kicked him off the shoe. Because when I saw it, I was like, this is a surprise. Because all season so far, Village has been struggling to score. So to get 5 it was like, wow, what the heck happened today? They found their shooting boots or extra shooting practice this week? I was completely surprised to hear 5. So that said, last week we were kind of giving our props to Boulevard for what they did against Paget. It's like, okay, maybe they do have a chance, but now giving up 5 goals to a team that's struggling to score, maybe they are relegation favorites. So,
but we have to look at the fact that North Village has had, like every other team, has had 2 weeks off, other than Boulevard and Paget, have had 2 weeks off where they could rest the wounded and put in some different, you know, drills and techniques. So, you know, are you surprised that now that given that North Village has had a chance to regroup over a 2-week period and they're playing a team that's played midweek, are you surprised? Are you now surprised that score line is 5?
Yes, I'm still surprised because in the beginning of the season, we were saying how it was an advantage for some teams. If you start playing in Dudley Eve first, you can work out the kinks and you hit the ground running. Village still wasn't scoring. So here we are now. Okay, you had 2 weeks. Like, okay. Like, I don't think you're turning it around that big, but if you're playing lesser opposition that's likely to get relegated, then maybe. Because do you think Village will score 5 again next week against better opposition? I don't think so.
We'll see in your picks.
Okay. All right.
And then the final Premier Division game, St. George's Coach 2, Crossroads 2. Punchy, we've been talking about Crossroads, the early start. They got that setback against Devonshire Colts, and they kind of got another setback today because, you know, they've been scoring freely, but now they've been leveled in a game 2-2. So they've given up over the last few games like 7 goals. Is that something that would be a concern for you if you was part of Crossroads right now?
Yeah, I would be. I thought we guys discussed this too. Like, you know, you start that race just like a marathon. You started, and you start off really well. You get to the front of the line, and all of a sudden you ain't got enough. You're not got enough energy to keep up. I think Crossroads is going to be exposed a little time, a bit in terms of when they play away from home. I think they will be. I think we gave a lot of kudos to the coach, the Moroccan coach, but I think also in terms of the quality, they have this great philosophy of the work rate, but still in certain parts, there's a lack of quality and technical quality with that team. And so even with Donovan Thompson, how you play with him, I think that's what the coach wanted to figure out. Now, it's going to be really, really. I don't think they're not going to be relegated. I'm sure of that. They've got the organization down there now. It's safe. What I do believe is that they're going to end up maybe a good cup team or some in the FA Cup. They'll get to the semifinals or the quarterfinals. But I think what I think is going to happen with them is that their survival is most important, so they can build on that.
Griff, your thoughts on the fact that St. George's was able to draw? I know you and I picked a draw, but St. George is able to draw with Crossroads.
I don't know who Punchy was referring to for relegation here, but because neither of these teams, in my mind, are going to be fighting in relegation. These are both two good teams, and I would have expected that it would be even. Maybe one of them would have won by the odd goal, but this is a good chess match with these two teams. They're both fast and they can score. So 2-2, I'm not that surprised, but it's a good result. And I think this is something that both of these teams can walk away with to build on. Maybe they both agreed that they didn't get the 3 points, but to me, it seems like it's two good teams going at it. I wish I would have been able to see this game.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, we are going to be joined by the head coach of the women's national team, Nikita Robinson. She's just in transit back to the hotel. They had a practice match this evening, so we'll get an update from her. But going on, Friday night in the first division, Punchy, Robin Hood edged Southampton Rangers 2-1. A big result for Robin Hood after their 2-0 defeat to St. David's, having to regenerate themselves. Keyshawn scores a goal. Rangers score, equalize, but then it's 2-1 to Robin Hood. Does this set Robin Hood up for a run to chase the Somerset Trojans?
That's going to be a difficult. That's very good. That's a very good question. I just think that what with Keyshawn Bean, he's an older player. He's a marksman. It's like John Tate. He's just a marksman. Norfolk won Triple Crowns with him, playing as a striker. Other than that, they have a young team. And then you got Sergio, who's bringing his ideas to Robin Hood. So that consistency is going to change with them. But I thought it was a good result today. I think, let's say, if they got to go to Somerset next week, I'm not sure if they're going to come up with a positive result. I think Somerset's consistency, Somerset at that level now where they are in that division, that they're the team to beat. And just in terms of the organization and talking to the coach, I think they're going to be. I think they will beat Robin Hood. I think so.
Yeah. Rick, Rangers, that was the second loss of the season. Give us a sense of where they are. They're right now in second place on goal difference over Robin Hood, but Robin Hood have a game in hand. But give us your thoughts on Rangers.
Rangers, I'm having a difficulty feeling out like they're up down. So I want to believe that they're legit, but with what's happened today, will they be impacted by possible suspensions? And if that's the case, could it derail the system? So I'm on the fence about Rangers until we see how everything works its way out. But I want to ask you also, on the game last week, the Robin Hood and St. David's game, did you find out, did Keyshawn play?
I didn't find out. I didn't find out.
Okay, because again, I say it's a completely different team with and without Keyshawn. So I think they only go as far as he takes them on his back. I think they have other good players, but it's the one that they're gonna ride the wave on. So again, relying on an older player is good in one aspect, but it's bad on the physical side. If anything happens to him, say Sergio all of a sudden doesn't look like a brilliant coach without Keyshawn. So they they need to be careful with him. Again, he's one of those type of players. Let's say like a player of the body type of Punchy. Punchy probably had to lose like 3 pounds after cup match when he was going into training for the season. It's some players that don't put on weight. Keyshawn is one of those players. I same way fight with it. You can like take 2 weeks off, bam, you put on 7-8 pounds. So here's one a player that fights his weight, and as an older player, keeping the weight off is a bigger thing, and that leads to because if he had groin injuries before, it leads to stresses on your body. So if he can maintain what he's doing for the entire season, then that looks good for Robin Hood. But it remains to be seen whether that can be done.
Yeah. Let's quickly go to the other game today. Wolves got an 87th minute earn goal to defeat Vasco 1-0. I see Punchy smiling, but obviously for a young Vasco team, Griff, I'm going to come to you, Punchy, about Wolves, but I'm going to Griff, a young Vasco team fighting tooth and nail to establish themselves, giving up an earn goal in the 87th minute. How would you, if you were a coach, how would you get them back up for a game coming up next week?
Like it happens in football, but from what you're describing to me, like if that was a cup game, they probably could have been 120 minutes without a goal. So an earn goal is unfortunate, and you're probably scrambling and whatever happens. So you have to take the positives. Like you defended well for almost 90 minutes, and you didn't give up many chances. So that's something to build on defensively, and you can work from there.
Yeah. Punchy. Yeah. Ever lovable Wolves. You beat it. Did you see any of that match?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't see much of the match. I was talking to Coach Torrey, and it's just I went past a training session on Tuesday. Nice lights on there, but you get me close, Coach. Yeah. Okay. Nice lights on there, but there's still not coming up. That there's something missing there. And I told you guys already what that situation is, or what I think it is. It's a familiarity.
Yeah.
So too familiar with the coaches. Somebody coming in, and some from somewhere else with a good direction like Dennis Bond on, and they could be so much better. I think there's a lot for them to improve upon, but I don't think that type of thing with them is not going to come out with that familiarity with the people that are running their team. Look, guys, I'm sorry. I got to knock off because I'm actually doing this show from North Village, so closing up now, so I can always come. I'll be home in about 5 minutes, and the show's still on.
Okay,
10 minutes.
Yeah, jump back on. Just jump back on.
Okay.
All right. Griff, Hamilton Parish. The ball is now in the BFA's court. They defaulted their third league match today against Somerset Eagles at Wellington Oval. It's got to be, they have a new leader, new president, new executive, but I guess on the field, nothing's changed. Give us a sense of your thoughts on what happens with Hamilton Parish now.
I think first and foremost, BFA is going to want to try to keep the purity of the competition. So, like if they just throw out 8-9 players a week, it's not good for football, and teams will rack up scores like Rangers. So, you want to keep them in the competition, but if it becomes farcical, it's not worth it. People's going to get maybe hurt or waste of time, or you have lopsided scores. That's not doing anything for the game. So I would, if they had some sort of way where they got more players and they could field a respectable team, I think it might be good for BFA to give them a chance, because presumably they've already paid the registration fees and everything, and it's basically money wasted. But if they're not able to field a team, then uh, they should just try to regroup and build for next season.
Well, obviously, the association's got uh, many more hot topics on their plate this week with what happened at Rangers, to have to also deal with, what's been prolonging at Hamilton Parish. Do you
Heavy,
think?
heavy is the head that wears the crown. Deal with it,
Wow.
executive. Deal with it. That's what we put you there for.
That's just the thing. Do you go by the law? The rules are in place. And they have rules, regulations, and everything already set out for a team to vote in 3 league games. So does the VFA abide by the rules, the Constitution, or do they call all the clubs and ask them, do they give Hamilton Parish another bite at the cherry, something?
Yeah, I think football is a game of laws. So you have to abide by the laws. And if you decide to pick and choose when you want to apply laws, then the laws become meaningless. So by the letter of the law, they have to kick them out. But like you said, if all of the clubs decided to make an exception, then maybe. But if you're going out on a limb and making an exception, and they still show up with 9, 10 players that we have possible schools, it's not worth bending the rule for them.
Yeah, but is it a sense of them continuing to play to keep the club? Because it's a two-edged sword. Keep the club playing as opposed to stop, and then the program is null and void altogether. Because basically, if you where are they going to pick up from next year? All of a sudden, you're going to have all these players come back if you don't have that interest.
Again, like that's for the executive to figure out. Like, if you have 10 guys now, maybe you organize kicks around the club or on the weekends, or you push them into masters. Say, look, let's just keep kicking or doing something. But to now, like, because you can spend money on lights and NSC gear, you need a manager and all of this. Do they have that infrastructure? Like, it is, if you're going to force it to not get any results, that may burn out other people who might come back next year. So it probably makes sense to start over. But I think, again, if it's a community club, because you have somebody that constantly tax on there that's responsible for the majorettes are going. They have activities at the club. So as long as the community keeps going and you try to build from there, like football at this stage will be secondary. As long as you have the club up and thriving and they're still embracing the community, that's just your starting spot.
Yeah, the Nepo team played yesterday as well, so they have that up and running as well. Yeah. Like you say, it's going to take not just the executive of the club, but it's going to take the community to come together, to put their heads together, to figure out where they want this club and community to go from here on in. Because again, we saw over the years a strong, vibrant community supporting Hamilton Parish football team. And right now, it's hard to find, the players that are playing for Hamilton Parish football team, which puts the club in a very difficult position. But hopefully, it's all sorted out, and we can get to it. So let's get to our picks. Punch is going to be rejoining us fairly soon. Just going to mute you, Griff. You got a lot of noise in the background. Yeah, but let's get to our picks, because we saw this week we had the match between PHC and Social Club. We all took PHC, and then the match between North Village and Boulevard Blazers. We all took North Village. St. George's and Crossroads. Griff, you and I took a draw, and Punchy took St. George's. We all took Somerset Trojans over St. David's. We all lost a point because we all took Rangers to defeat Robin Hood. We all gained a point because we all took Wolves to defeat Social Club, and of course, we all took Eagles. So at the end of the day, we have still the matches between Dandytown Hornets and Devonshire Cougars and Paget Lions and Devonshire Colts to be played. Griff, you and I both got 6. Punchy got 5. I move on to 26. Punchy moves on to 25. Griff, you move on to... I'm sorry, no. I move on to 32. Griff and Punchy are on 31 with 5 and 6 this week. So, as we await the arrival of both Punchy and the national coach, Nikita Robinson, Griff, it's time for this week's picks, and we have a midweek friendship preliminary round match scheduled, and I will go first. It is North Village Rams and PHC Zebras at PHC midweek. I am going to go with PHC edging North Village in this one. Hold on a sec. You're up.
I believe the 5-0 today is an anomaly. I'm gonna have to go PHC at PHC.
Okay. All right. This game was scheduled for Friday night, but I don't know if they've rescheduled it for a Sunday or what. But it's North Village taking on St. George's Colts in the league over the weekend. You're up.
What's the venue?
Bernard Park.
All right, I'll go out Liam Village.
Okay. I'm going to take this as a draw. Okay. Social Club Crossroads at Prospect. I'm going to take Crossroads. Griff?
Crossroads, easy.
Okay. All right. And Griff, you're up with Devonshire Cougars hosting Paget Lions.
So now I think, again, this what I see the fallout from today's episode and any possible suspensions, but I'll take Cougars.
Cougars, I'm going to take them as well, given the fact that they would have a chance to recover and get those wounded souls that they have back into flow. So I'm going to take Cougars as well. Then it's PHC versus Devonshire Colts at PHC Stadium. Boy, oh boy. Oh boy. You know what? I'm going to take PHC. I'm going to take PHC. I'll just leave it like that. Griff?
I wish you'd have gave me some of your logic. I'm fighting her on this one. I want to believe in Devonshire Colts. I wish that we'd have had some evidence to go on from the Paget game today, but after seeing what PHC did to Social Club, I'm gonna have to give PHC the edge this one.
Okay, final match of the weekend. Boulevard Blazers are to host Dandytown Hornets. We're not sure where this game's going to be. It's supposed to be at BAA, but as we know, circumstances. So, Boulevard or Dandytown?
Yeah, out of curiosity, venue, this game could be on Mars. I'm taking Dandytown.
Okay, and I'm gonna take Dandytown as well.
Take the draw.
Take what draw? What you got? 2 papers or 3 papers? I just want to stay around a bit. Let me just see if Coach Robinson is near. Obviously, because the team is getting ready for their World Cup qualifiers.
Where are they? I forgot where they are.
They right now they are in Miami. They head to Cayman Islands tomorrow.
Cayman. Okay.
The first match is against Cayman, and then they go to Guatemala to play Guatemala. And it is my hope that the same energy that everybody had for the men is shown for the women when they play their return matches in March of next year. They play their first 2 games on the road, which is going to be difficult for them. But, that's the way the World Cup draw has gone for them.
So I have a question. I don't know if you know or we'll save it for Nikita, but I think the first choice goalkeeper is not coming for school reasons or club reasons. Which is it?
I'm not sure.
Not sure.
What the circumstances are. There's several reasons. Several players are missing
Right.
from this team, and due to school commitments, work commitments, so many other commitments, that this team is what it is today. And I guess the coach can talk more about where the team is at this present time regarding what's next, what's coming up.
So I as earlier in the year, I got to go and see I think it was the under 23s play in Trinidad,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they had a lot of the under 17s or whatever. It was under 17s playing up in the under 20s, and it was good experience for them. But like you could clearly see the difference in size and physical stature between some of the under 17s and under 20s, and it made a difference. So I'm now wondering the same thing if you have a lot of your first choice players that are not playing for either school reasons or professional teams or whatever, not being released or whatever. Do you think that'll make a big difference? Because skill wise, it'll be a gap.
Mm. Well, we've seen this over the years since the women's program's been around, that we've had under 15s playing in the senior team. We've had under 13s playing under 15s. We've had under 15. It's just been because of the sheer numbers. We don't always have a full quota of that age group, or even at the senior level. Now, the senior level over the years has grown to what it is, and we shouldn't see too many. Well, we will see a lot of under 23s maybe in this team, but the fact of the matter is that the program has grown to what it is, and it's like you've indicated, size is a big difference, and when we start matching up against some of these big teams that have the size and the capabilities of body strength, it's going to be a tall order for our team.
And I think also too, I think even as the last 10 years, the women's game has grown and has matured as a sport. It's not the same as it was 10 years. The skill and the tactical nature and the physicality of the women today compared to 10 years ago is completely different.
Yeah, a lot of countries have invested in their women's programs, which has elevated them to even greater heights. And I think that's where we as smaller countries struggle, because we rely purely on talent, and because the investments we see are more put into the men's football, and not saying that they don't invest in the women's football, but it's not to the magnitude in which we invest in the men's football.
So I think about maybe 10 years ago, there was talk to saying, like, you know what, because the gap between the elite teams and the smaller countries wasn't as great, we probably have a better chance of advancing in women's football. But I think now with the maturation of the women's game, that gap is almost the same as it is with the men's team, and
Yeah, it has grown.
it's
It has grown.
it's just as difficult for the women to qualify as it is for the men. The gap is no longer the same.
Yeah, it's to that point now that you could see the gap in even at the youth levels, where the teams that have numbers and funding grow even stronger while the others kind of stay stagnant. So, yeah. I'm still
So it's a
hoping that
tall order.
Nikita joins us. Give her another couple of minutes. If not, then we'll have to go without. But yeah.
So where do we stand in Bermuda in terms of a women's league?
They run it during the summer. They unfortunately went from what was it, 6 or 7 teams to 3 teams this year. 3 teams this year. It's we've got to be able to put our heads together. Me personally, now this is only my opinion and whatever, but we should be playing football when it's football season. Having the women play in the summer. That many talk about, oh well, we wait for girls to come back from school and so forth, but we found a way to do it before. Just we have to be playing. They have to be playing football during football season. Now if you look at the commitments that we have internationally, they're all throughout the summer. Especially our under 17s, our under 15s, and our under 19s. That it's a volume. So how would you play a league if out of the 2 months or 3 months that you're playing, 5 weeks of that the team's away, the players are away? It makes it that much more difficult to try and run a league. So that's where women are situated right now.
I want to believe that BFA has done the analytics and that's the best possible time. But previously, what we had before were like 2 dominant teams out of 6, and the other games were lopsided. So the development wasn't happening. And then I think they tried a draft to spread out the talent, but then the league, I guess, because they weren't paying for their friends or whatever, it didn't last. So it's difficult to figure out what the right balance or solution is.
Yeah, Coach Keita just said 2 minutes, so hopefully she could join us in 2 minutes and before you have to get on your plane, because you're actually off to walking football, aren't you?
Yes. We got our 3 games. First game's on Tuesday afternoon. So hopefully I can still walk on Wednesday.
Well, you ain't walking, so what do you mean?
Hey. It's speed walking. It's not walking. It's speed walking.
Let me just say, I watched you, quote unquote, speed walk run, playing walking football.
Hey, you were dazzled, weren't you? Tell the viewers you were dazzled.
I couldn't stop laughing.
If anything, I'm an entertainer.
Well, trust me. And I'm pretty sure your first match against you guys play Liverpool first.
I believe so. They're getting what Nottingham Forest gave them.
Oh gosh, wow. Yeah. Don't upset no more people, man. Already upset. A lot of people on suicide watch this weekend. But yeah, okay. So Coach Keita should be joining us any second. Let's see here.
Who are the other coaches? Oh, she's here. Okay.
Coach, can you hear us?
Can
you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Okay, it's a bit spotty, but it's good enough. Well, first of all, thank you for joining. Real quick, obviously, you begin your World Cup campaign this week in Cayman Islands. You've got the team together now. What has the camp been like thus far? And I know you had just finished a practice match, but you're heading to Cayman tomorrow. So what has the camp been like thus far? You muted yourself. Okay.
We got a few. Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. We got a few new faces. Some young players that we brought in. So right now it's a social piece. It's us getting them together and just being familiar with the protocols and getting them up to speed with how we play. Today was a bit a bit rushed. The game was scheduled for 5 o'clock. We were at lunch and we were waiting to have meetings, and then we were told on games at 3:30. So it turned into hurry up, get taped, any physio that was needed, and any meetings that we needed to have. We needed to have them quickly. So we didn't have everybody for training yesterday. We got 3 players in last night. So it was a bit of a rush. Our practice match went okay. We lost 3-2. One of our keepers is sort of tiny, so the first goal was over our head, and then 2 kind of sketchy penalties called against us. And then we scored 2 goals through Neil Christopher and Evan.
Yeah. Griff, you got any questions for the coach?
One moment. Yes. Welcome to the show, Nikita.
Yes.
Before you came on the show, I was talking to Earl about when you were in Trinidad and you had some of the younger players from the under 17s playing up in the under 20s. And I believe due to commitments of some of the other players, you don't have all of the players that you would have liked, and you've gotten some other players drafted in and playing up. How do you think these players will blend in with the team?
Yeah, some have trained with us in the past, and we have enough players in position to play ahead of them to show them exactly what it is that we're looking for. So they're not going to be baptized by fire. They're not going to be thrown into the deep end right away. Today we didn't start them, and we gradually brought them in. And in the end, I had quite a few. I had, if not all, on the 17s that I have with me on the field at the same time. And without the likes of Kyler Bringman, Jaden Masters, Nia Christopher, Victoria Davis, like they had to sort of swim, and they did well. So they have earned the right to play up, but we will take our time in getting them, fully in there. They're not at the starter level, but they definitely are at the level where we can, if we're comfortable in a match, they're meant to play.
As we head into this World Cup campaign for the women, we saw how the men, how they developed and how they came out. But what would you say to Bermuda to expect from this team over this first 2 games that you have to play?
The expectations really isn't something that worries us, but have patience. Again, we've now got 2 inexperienced goalkeepers. Our experienced goalkeepers are one's unavailable and the other resigned. So that's the piece of having patience in that area. But they can still expect us to do well. They still can expect us to play how we want to play and to get the job done in this first leg. Guatemala, again, will be tough. We know they will be tough. And we have been really focused on, and even in today's game, we wanted to see our defensive shape more. And we got so many attacking moments in this match, even working on our defensive shape. But we just didn't put our chances away. So we expect Bermuda to completely be behind us and give us the same support they've always given us. But again, have patience, because we do have some new faces in the team that need to kind of get acclimatized or to kind of understand the way that we want to play and to be able to execute it. I haven't had them in Bermuda to train with us. It's a bit difficult, right? So we're doing everything that we can over the next few days to help them through video, through animations, and with everything to just get them up to speed. And then it's up to them now to do it. So them being willing to do it.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank you very much for your time, Coach. I know you've had a long day with this rush. Now it's time to settle the team down and get them ready for travel tomorrow and then on to the game. So
another 3 hours tonight watching video and trying to fall apart today's match for Cayman Islands. So yeah, it's but for it, and it's what I signed up for. So
Yes, yes. Well, we want to wish you all the best, and to the girls, do
Thank
us
you.
proud. We know you will, and we'll be watching come game night.
thanks a lot,
All right?
guys. Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
Griff.
Good night.
Griff, to you, safe journey. Only those who know. Griff like walking on water. You don't walk on water, Griff.
I leave little footprints in the water.
Yeah. That's because handprints because you're sinking. All right. Well, safe journey. Good luck in your walking football. Folks, we'll be back next week with another edition of the Island Stats Football Show. Enjoy the rest of your night.